If your watercolor fur always ends up looking stiff, flat, or overworked, this video is gonna help you a lot. We're going to paint this fox together, and I'll show you 4 simple watercolor techniques that you can combine to get soft, realistic fur without painting every single hair. And yes, they work even if you're a beginner. Hi, I'm Françoise. Welcome back to the channel, your place for watercolor and watercolor pencil art that stays simple but still looks realistic. Recently, I painted a dog with short fur, and that video really seemed to help many of you. But short fur is forgiving. Long fur, like on this fox, shows every hesitation and every extra brush stroke. So today we're going to tackle long fur, and I'll show you exactly how I build it up step by step. Before we dive into painting, there's one big idea I'd like you to keep in mind the whole time. Good watercolor fur is mostly suggestion. If you try to paint every hair, it gets heavy and tight very fast. We'll focus on light, clear shapes and just enough texture to make the fur feel real with my 4 techniques. Let's start before the paint even touches the paper, and I always begin with a very simple sketch that maps out the main features and the important light areas. And you can see I didn't draw every hair. I just placed the eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and then I lightly marked where the biggest white or very light fur patches are. For example, around the muzzle and a little inside the ears. Those shapes are like reserved light, so just make sure your whites are planned for fur. You'll see it makes the painting stage much easier. Now technique number 1, and it's all about painting fur on wet. That's why I like to start with a base layer on wet paper. I wet the whole fox shape without skipping the white parts I drew in the sketch, by the way. And the goal here is not detail. It's just to block in the main colors and get those fuzzy, soft edges that watercolor does so well. I'm using a mix of Indian yellow and quinacridone deep gold with a lot of water to keep things light. I add that where I see color in the reference, and I avoid the white areas. There are no blurry parts in my reference, it's just the entire face in focus, but if there were, let's say a tail in the background, this would be the moment to paint fur that stays loose just like this. Fur-shaped strokes, but on wet. If your paper dries quickly while you're doing this, don't panic. Just let it dry completely, re-wet the area, and keep going. I'm using 100% cotton cold pressed paper because it stays wet longer and the washes look smoother. But you can absolutely try this on a good cellulose paper. And then a regular round brush is enough here too. You don't need a tiny detail brush yet, although mine does both because it's a round brush with a pointed end. By the way, if you enjoy animal videos and you'd like more of them on the channel, you can let me know in the comments by typing more animals. It helps me know what you're most interested in. Once this is dry, we move on to technique number 2 with painting fur on dry. This is the most important technique of all, and it's the one that you can easily overdo, so we're going to take it step by step. I start painting fur when the paper is completely dry, but I don't jump straight to thick or dark paint. I still begin with a light version of my deep gold color, and with my round pointed brush, I follow the direction of the fur with soft curved strokes, and here a pointed end in the brush really helps. The magic in this part here is in softening hard edges, because every time I paint a small group of fur strokes, I immediately come in with a second brush that is clean and just damp. I gently touch the base of those strokes and soften some edges so they melt into the wash underneath. That's what keeps everything light instead of hard and tight. As I build up more color little by little, I start focusing on the main features, the eyes, nose, mouth, and the darkest parts of the ears. For those, I mix quinacridone deep gold with a bit of sepia so they can pop. Features are the only places where I allow myself to use stronger and heavier paints in this kind of artwork. They're supposed to be sharper and more defined, and it's also that contrast that makes the fur all around look soft. With the features out of the way now, I keep painting fur, and I follow the shape of the fox. Think of it as brushing the fox itself with your brush because your strokes will feel more natural and realistic. While I'm doing this, you'll see that I'm still preserving many of those white areas from the sketch. I might add a few strokes over them, but I never completely fill them in. Then, inside those light areas, I soften the edges of the color so it gently melts into the white. And this creates a soft bridge between light fur and darker fur. The whole time I can tell you that my eyes are bouncing back and forth between the fox and the reference, and at this stage, I'm not guessing, I'm always asking, where is the fur darker, where is it lighter, and where does it curve? For example, I notice the color around the eyes is deeper in the reference, so I add another layer of color there. Realistic fur is built in stages with light washes first, then slightly stronger strokes, then a few darker accents. What keeps it from feeling heavy is that I keep leaving these little pieces of paper untouched. If you squint at the painting, you should still see those light patches breaking up the fur. By now, the fox is already looking quite realistic, and for many paintings, this would be enough. But I promised you 4 techniques, and the next 2 are my lazy cheats that improve so many things, as you're about to see, and it works on everything, not just animals. So stay with me a bit longer because this is the part that usually gives people the biggest aha moment. Technique number 3 is all about removing paint by lifting it on dry. I use this everywhere in my work, from forests to portraits. For fur, it's perfect for those little light strands that feel impossible to paint. And instead of trying to preserve every tiny hair, I just paint a darker area than usual, let it dry, and then I pull the fur out of it. I load my brush with clean water, but I make sure it's not dripping wet. And I literally draw the shape of a few fur strands directly onto the dry paint with the brush. Then I press a clean piece of paper towel on top and lift. A bit of pigment comes off and leaves a soft, lighter mark that follows the shape I just painted. You can repeat this once or twice in the same area to make it a touch lighter, as long as your paper is strong enough. You can see in the ears how this suddenly creates messy but natural looking light hair without me having to micromanage them from the beginning. It also works really well to fix little things. For example, take this harsh vertical line on the nose that bothers me because it's too strong. I simply paint water over that line and I lift it, and it instantly looks softer and more natural. So you can see if an area feels a bit too heavy with color, you can just lighten it a little with this technique. Under the chin, where the fur is really long and wavy, I use the same idea but with curved strokes of water. When I lift, it suddenly looks like those long, soft strands of fur you see in the photo. It's a lazy technique in the best way because instead of stressing to keep everything perfect, you know you can reshape and lighten things later. Technique number 4 is very smart and fast and easy to use as well. There are always a few tiny hairs that are basically pure white in animals. You can mask them or use white gouache, but both can look a bit harsh or overwork the painting. For very small touches, I like to use a knife and scratch the paper. And you can try this with any small, sharp tool that you have at home. Just be careful. The blade I'm using here is starting to get tired, but it still works. So on completely dry paint, I lightly drag the edge of the blade along the direction of the fur. It doesn't need much pressure at all. You're just shaving the top of the paper. This reveals bright white lines that are incredibly thin, perfect for a few whiskers or a few crisp hair on the edge of the ear. Because this is so strong though, I keep it for the very end and I use it sparingly. 2 or 3 little scratches in the right place are enough. And if your paper is delicate or you just don't enjoy scratching it, you can also add 1 or 2 super thin lines with white gouache as an alternative, but it's still treated like a spice, not the main ingredient. That's why I keep my white gouache for the highlights in the eyes. When you combine these 4 techniques, you get a fox that feels loose and realistic at the same time. Soft washes from the wet base, clear fur direction from the dry strokes, subtle highlights from lifting, and a few sharp sparkles from the scratched highlights. If you want to go deeper and actually paint this fox with me from start to finish, the full real-time tutorial with voiceover is available on my Patreon. I'll leave the link below. And if you'd like a more structured path for watercolor, I also offer watercolor courses. Thank you so much for painting with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.